Alright, we are about to begin our next project. This is a really fun one, working on our company logo. This one is really important and we're going to be using it throughout the rest of the quarter, so you really want to make sure you spend some time on this. But I've seen some really neat logos that have been made already in this class, so I'm excited to see what you're going to make. The first thing you're going to do, as always, is you're going to open your BoxSync folder. You're going to go to CEO Challenge, and you're going to open your student workbook. Once your student workbook opens, you're going to go to page 38. Page 38 is the first page for our company logo. Now you can either follow along on here to kind of help you figure out what you need to do, but you're really going to need to follow along with this video because we're going to use some programs that it doesn't talk about here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the internet, so Safari will work, and we are going to go to Kids Search. So you're going to type in kidzsearch.com. Now Kids Search is where we are going to use whenever we need to look up pictures or look up articles or definitions. It just kind of allows us to make sure we're looking at things that we should be seeing and not stuff that we shouldn't see, which is important as Christians that we're very careful about what we look at. Now we're going to click on the pics and we are going to look up the start of our logo. The kind of the base thing that we're going to work off of. So you're going to have to spend a little bit of time to think of what type of picture are you going to need for your logo. Now logos are usually very, very simple. Think of most of the really popular logos. Target is just a couple of circles. Nike is just, looks kind of like a check mark. McDonald's is just an M. Most companies, the logo is really, really simple. So I want you to keep that in mind as you're working on your logo. You don't need to have lots of stuff going on. Something really simple and easy is going to work. Because my company is Summit Fitness and Nutrition, I'm going to look up a mountain. The other thing I want to make sure I'm doing is we want to look up clip art. If you don't type in clip art, you're going to end up getting pictures that are going to be hard to work with. So I'm going to click on mountain clip art, and I'm going to pick an image that I like. So there's quite a few here that I can use. I'm going to go ahead and just pick on this first one right here. This will work. Now unfortunately when you click on the image, I actually used this picture for a different logo of mine that's a little bit nicer, but just kind of to show you the basic way of doing it, I'm going to click on this mountain, and after you click on it, sometimes you'll have the pictures that'll show up right away, and other times when you click on something you have to find where on the page that picture is. So here we know it's right here at the top, but it might be in a different spot of the page, so you're going to kind of have to look for it. Once you find your picture, you are going to click on the picture, you're going to hold Control and click. When you do that, you're going to get an option box like this, and you're going to want to go to Save Image As, and you're going to want to save this into your BoxSync folder. You're going to save it under CEO, CEO Challenge, Student Work, and then your number and name. Once you click on that, you're going to be able to save this file in here. Now you might name this, I might just name it Mountain, and then save it, or maybe make sure you have your number and your name, 18 Mr. Swift, and I'm going to use this for my logo. So you need to find something to use for yours, whether it's a basketball, whether it's a shoe. You need to find some kind of a clip art depending on the company you're doing. If you're doing something that involves outside, it might be the sun. You might use a sun clip art, and you might find something here that you can use for your logo. Anything like that, you just want to make sure you use clip art as the name. It'll make it easier, and whatever type of business you're going to have. And remember, it's got to be something really simple, so don't make it too challenging. Once you find what you're going to be using, you're going to open up another instance of Safari, and we're going to go to Pixlr.com. Now Pixlr is a really interesting website. We are going to use it for actually creating the logo we're going to use, Pixlr is a lot like Photoshop. So when you hear people talk about Photoshop, Pixlr is a simplified version of Photoshop. Now the first thing you'll notice is you'll get a page that looks like this. If you scroll down, you're going to get these two options, Pixlr Editor and Pixlr Express. We want to use Pixlr Editor, so we're going to click Launch Web App. Once that opens up, we're going to be prompted with a few options. Because we're starting over, we're going to go to Create a New Image. So click on Create a New Image and name this your number, your name, and then logo. Now because I already have a couple logos, I'm going to just name this logo 3 so it doesn't get mixed up with my other logos. Everything else you can leave the same. It might be beneficial to put transparent on, but you don't need to. So go ahead and just press OK. Now you're going to have a blank sheet that looks like this. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Layer, Open Image as Layer. So again, Layer, Open Image as Layer. When you do that, you're going to have to find that picture that you've already saved. So you're going to go to BoxSync, CEO, CEO Challenge, Student Work, 18, Mr. Swift, and I'm going to find that picture. So here it is right here, 18 Mr. Swift Mountain. And I'm going to click on it, and as you see, it opens up on the page. Now, I need to make sure I'm clicked on that layer because I have the background. And when I'm clicked on that layer, any changes I do, anything I do to this picture here is going to change my picture. It's going to change my logo. Now there's a lot of stuff you can do on this tool, Pixlr.com. I'm not going to be able to teach you nearly all of it, but I will show you a couple of neat things you can do. The first thing you're going to want to do once you have this started, you're going to go to File, Save, and we're going to save this not as a JPEG. This is what our end product is going to be saved as, but we are going to save this as a PXD file. Now PXD is going to allow us to open this back up in Pixlr anytime we need to keep working on it. So we're going to go ahead and press OK, and we're going to want to make sure once we press OK that we save it in BoxSync, CEO, Student Work, your name, your number. Now it's saved. I can just go to File, Save anytime I need to save changes I've made. It's important to know that as you work on this, you can also undo stuff. So if I accidentally, let's say, grabbed the eraser and accidentally erased part of my picture and I did not want to do that, I could go to File or Edit, Undo, and it'll undo that. So anytime you mess something up, before you raise your hand and say, how do I fix this, just try undoing it. Now, there's a lot of things we can do with this picture. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a second copy of the picture. So I'm going to go right over here to Layer, I'm going to click on it, and I am going to duplicate layer. This gives me two different layers, and because they're the same it's hard to tell the difference, but let's change one of them to a different color. Now you're going to need to pick two different colors, maybe three, but two different colors for your company. I'm going to use green and white as the colors for my company. So I'm going to click down here and I'm going to find a nice green that I like. Let's see, I like that one, so I'm going to press OK. And I'm going to change the color of this entire picture, this black part, these mountains, to that green. Now the way I'm going to do that is I'm picking the paint bucket and I'm going to click on top of the black and it'll turn all the black to green. Now underneath it is still a black layer. So I can click on that black layer, I'm going to drag it up on top of the green layer, and so now it's on top. And I'm going to change this one to, let's keep it black actually. That might be kind of neat, green and black. So the paint bucket allows you to change the entire color. I could change this to any other color I wanted to, but I think green is good. You have a couple other options. You can use a paintbrush, and you could pick a different color, maybe red, or kind of an off red, and you can paint on it. But you just need to be careful that it doesn't end up looking silly. So I'm going to undo that. Now remember, there's a black layer right behind my green layer. See, the one on top is the one that you see first. underneath it is what's underneath. So underneath my green layer is a black layer. So I have a couple options. I can grab this move tool and I can move the green, and as you can see, I could see the black one right underneath, but I kind of want it to line back up and be where it's supposed to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase part of the top of my picture. So I'm going to click on this black, or I'm sorry, the eraser tool, and I'm going to erase the top part of my picture. And now you can see the black coming through. I could also have just painted this black, but I kind of wanted to show you that you could erase the top layer and see the bottom layer. So now I've got my green, my black. It looks like black snow, which looks a little silly, but that's okay. So I've got a green mountain with some black snow, and then I'm going to add some text. Now the way I'm going to add text is I'm going to click on the text box. So you see this little A. I'm going to click on the screen and I'm going to type in the logo of my company. Now I'm going to change this to white. I want the text to come up white, so I'm going to click white. And I'm going to put just my initials, S, N, F. I want to make this a little bit bigger, so let's go ahead and drag my size so it's a little larger. And then I could change the font too if I wanted to, or the type of font. See if I can find something else that looks cool. This one looks kind of neat. So I'm going to press OK. And then now if I click on this, I can now move these initials to any part of the picture that I want. So now this is a nice logo. Now you'll see there's a whole lot of white here. I could remove that white by going to background. Actually, let's just do it this way. It's okay to have a little bit of white in your picture, but you just don't want this much. So I'm going to crop it. If you see this picture up here, this tool is your crop tool. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to drag it to the size of my picture, and this will be what I want to have for my image. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to go to Edit, Invert Selection, and then I'm going to hit the delete button. Actually, let's go to Edit. Let's go back to where it's just selected this, so I'm not going to do the invert selection. And I'm going to go to Crop. There we go. And now I've got my entire picture. This is my logo. So I can go ahead and do File Save, and this is going to save it as a JPEG. So I want to make sure it says 18 Mr. Swift logo, and I'm going to name JPEG at the end. I'm going to make sure it's selected to JPEG here, and I'm going to save it to my folder. Now once you do that, you also need to save this as a PXD. You need to have both of them saved in your folder. The reason we do this to have both of them is at any point you can reopen that PXD. So if you need to rework on this later on, you can change it and you're going to get all of these layers. You're going to get all of the options of doing stuff here. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be able to edit this as easily. So you need to have a JPEG and a PXD file. You don't need to save a JPEG until you're all the way done with your logo. Now, like I said, there's a lot of stuff you can do. I've already saved it, so I might just play with this a little bit to see what else I can do. Let's see if I could change that black color. And I want to make sure I'm selected on that layer. Let's change the black to that. Let's change, I'm going to click on the background, change this to white. And so I've been able to change, just by doing that, the color of my my logo. So maybe I want to change the letters, so I need to click on that layer with the letters. Maybe I want to change those to a different color. I can do that by selecting, but I think I like it white right now. There's a lot of things you can do. So kind of play around and figure out what you like to do. Don't like that, so I'm going to do edit undo. You can do anything you want as long as you have it saved and you undo, and you can kind of just play around to see what you like. I can smudge it, make it a little bit smudgier underneath, but that doesn't look like a good logo, so I'm going to undo that. But maybe if I just did it a little bit, it might look good. Oof, not even a little bit. So just play around and see what you like. You can change the color with your paintbrush. You can maybe, instead of putting the text in there, you can maybe handwrite S N F. Yeah, I don't like it. So it's just up to you. What do you like? How do you want it to look? Remember, simple is better. So I think this is a pretty good simple logo that I can use on a lot of my documents. So I want you to do that. Spend some time working with it, playing with it, changing some color, making it look as nice as you want it to look. And when you're done, make sure to save it as a JPEG and a PXD. If you don't have it saved as both, then you're not going to get credit for the assignment.